Rajasthan's Aravalli Hills hide a sprawling architectural anomaly, the ruins of Bhangarh. While the stone walls of this 16th-century metropolis remain remarkably intact, nearly every structure in the city lacks a roof, a detail that lends the site its eerily skeletal appearance. At the main entrance, visitors encounter a formal warning from the Archaeological Survey of India. This government body, usually focused on preservation and history, has issued a strict legal mandate. Entry into the fort is strictly prohibited between sunset and sunrise. Folklore suggests the ban exists because the fort belongs to the dead at night. Locals describe a cacophony of women screaming, the clatter of breaking glass bangles, and a standing rule that anyone who attempts to stay past dark will never be seen again. These stories trace back to a local legend involving a black magic practitioner named Singya. He supposedly cursed the city after Princess Ratnavati thwarted his attempt to bewitch her, decreeing that the buildings would forever crumble and the inhabitants would never find peace or rebirth. This creates a strange intersection between modern administration and ancient myth. We have to ask why a scientific agency would enforce a curfew on a site rumored to be cursed, and what physical dangers might be lurking in the dark. Auditory reports from the fort follow a consistent pattern. Visitors often describe what sounds like witches crying, hurried footsteps on stone, and the sharp rattling of jewelry echoing through the empty residential blocks. The geography of the site provides a relevant clue. Bhangarh sits just 50 kilometers from the Sariska Tiger Reserve, a vast wilderness that borders the ruins on multiple sides. Much of what is interpreted as footsteps or breaking bangles coincides with the movement of nocturnal monkeys and leopards. In the absolute silence of the hills, the sound of an animal stepping on dry leaves or dislodging a loose stone carries with startling clarity. The screams, often attributed to spirits, match the distinct, high-pitched vocalizations of the striped hyenas that scavenge the ruins at night. To an untrained ear in pitch darkness, these animal calls can sound hauntingly human. The auditory experience of the haunting appears to be a misinterpretation of local wildlife ecology by visitors primed for a supernatural encounter. Beyond sound, visitors claim to feel a heavy, physical presence. They describe sudden chills, spikes of anxiety, and the overwhelming sensation that they are being watched from the corners of the roofless rooms. Engineer Vic Tandy discovered a potential explanation for these sensations in the 1980s. He found that sound frequencies falling below 20 Hz, known as infrasound, could trigger specific biological responses in the human body. At these frequencies, sound waves are silent to our ears, but powerful enough to physically vibrate internal tissues and even the fluid in our eyeballs. This creates a feedback loop of dizziness, dread, and even shadowy visual distortions. While site-specific data is still being gathered, Bhangarh's physical conditions are highly conducive to these effects. The fort's location in a high-risk seismic zone, combined with wind funneling through jagged, open-air stone corridors, creates an environment where these low-frequency waves can naturally occur. The ghostly presence visitors describe mirrors the known biological effects of infrasound vibrating the human body. This leaves the question of why so many people report seeing the same shadowy figures darting between the stone pillars. Psychological research, like the 2008 Haunt Project at Goldsmiths University, suggests that suggestibility plays a dominant role. If a person is told a room is haunted, they are significantly more likely to report terror and presences, even if the room is entirely empty. This works in tandem with pareidolia, our brain's evolutionary drive to find human faces and figures in random patterns, a trait that helped our ancestors spot predators in the brush. Tourists arrive at Bhangarh after seeing countless videos and articles, labeling it India's most haunted fort. When they enter a dark, ruined space, their brain is already searching for evidence, turning moving shadows and jagged rocks into spirits. The ghosts of Bhangarh appear to exist primarily in the cognitive biases of the visitors, manufactured by a brain that is hardwired to find threats in the dark. Turning to history, the mystery of the curse begins to fade. There are no verified historical records of a Princess Ratnavati or the sorcerer Singya. They appear to be purely folkloric figures. However, the abandonment of the city was a very real tragedy. A metropolis that once supported thousands of residents was left to the elements, turning into a ghost town within a generation. The actual catalyst was likely the Chalisa famine of 1783. This extreme El Niño event triggered a brutal drought across North India, drying up water sources and making life in the arid Aravalli Hills impossible. The data shows that this 1783 drought was a regional catastrophe. While a curse provides a dramatic explanation for one city's fall, the macro reality was a massive climate shift that forced entire populations to migrate or face starvation. Humans naturally favor narratives over cold data. A sorcerer's curse provides a villain and a reason for the ruin. A random climate disaster is a reminder of how little control we have over our environment. This brings us back to the government warning sign at the gate. The Archaeological Survey of India mandates the sunset curfew to protect visitors from very tangible risks: unstable, crumbling masonry that is invisible in the dark, and the very real presence of apex predators like the Bengal tiger. Understanding these mechanisms, from famine to infrasound, doesn't diminish the history of Bhangarh. It allows us to appreciate the site with clarity rather than fear. As Marie Curie observed, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Bhangarh stands as a testament to nature's power to reclaim human settlements and the incredible capacity of the human mind to craft a ghost story to fill the silence of a lost city.